He has listened to the American people, and he has done what is best for his party and his country, and I think it's one of the most selfless, admirable things you can do.
If you want to push somebody out, give me back a person who you think that should be a good candidate to run against Trump. They never gave that information, and that's what's disappointing with me.
I voted for Republicans. I voted for Democrats. Can you do the job? That's what matters. Can you do the job? By the people, for the people.
I'm very sad that he has chosen to step aside, but I really want to thank him for his service, because I think he has put the country before his personal goals, perhaps, and I'm really excited about Kamala. And so I hope she does fantastically well and that we have a Democratic win in November.
Ready to go? Today, President Biden has made the difficult decision to not seek re-election at the presidential election that will be held in November. As he's done throughout his entire time in public life, he has acted in what he considers to be the best interests of the United States of America. He is someone who, in January, will be able to retire from public life with an extraordinary record. President Biden has been a great friend of Australia, and that will continue, and I look forward to meeting with President Biden at the G20 and at the APEC summits that will be held later this year. President Biden deserves today, I think, to be recognised for once again not putting himself forward first, but giving his first consideration to being what he believes is in the interests of the United States of America, as he has done his whole public life, and I pay tribute to him today. Thanks very much.
Thank you. I want to begin by commending President Biden for a career in public service, for a long, long career in representing and serving our country, and for his handling of the many difficulties and challenges, personal challenges and tragedies that he suffered during his life. If the Democrats do what I suspect they're going to do, which is to anoint Kamala Harris, a vice president who is monumentally unpopular within her own party, but they're doing it because it's the easiest way to hold on to the money. She's a war hawk. The Democratic Party was always the peace party. Kamala Harris is a war hawk on Ukraine. She's a war hawk on China. I think that we should be figuring out ways to coexist with the rest of the world as best we can. Of course, we need to protect our national security. I think she's not going to do anything about the national deficit. I've never heard her speak about the chronic disease epidemic, I think she's a product of the corporate control of our democracy. And she's one of the authors of, in terms of civil rights, she has one of the worst civil rights record of any public official.
Makes sense. I mean, I'm a Democrat. I think you kind of sort of have to do whatever it takes to try to beat Trump, just given kind of what he represents and how damaging a Trump presidency could be from my perspective. So yeah, it just seemed like with all the Biden kind of struggling in the polls and all of that, that it's the kind of move you make when you don't see another choice, essentially.
We've been adversely affected by President Biden's policies. We're noticing an increase in the price of groceries and fuel and the price of living, and our lives are worse now. And Vice President Harris is riding on those coattails. So it's going to be very hard to shake that opinion when we have all witnessed an economic downturn in all of our lives.
I'm an executive director of an organization. I know that women can lead, absolutely. I will support her if she is the nominee. I wonder if she would be chosen, and if she's not, does she still get access to the money if she's the vice presidential nominee and someone else is the presidential nominee? I don't know. I think the party needs to think about who can successfully win. And is this country, I'll put it bluntly, is this country ready to elect a black woman to be president over a convicted felon?
総理、毎日新聞の池田です。アメリカのバイデン大統領が先ほど大統領選挙から撤退することを表明しました。同時にハリス副大統領を候補として支持するとも述べています。判断をどのように受け止めているかお聞かせください。判断をどのように受け止めているかお聞かせください。
ご指摘の点は米国の国内政治に関わることでありますので、私自身から直接コメントすることは控えますが、いずれにせよバイデン大統領として政治的に最善の判断をする、そういった思いでの判断であると認識をいたします。日米同盟、これは言うまでもなく、我が国の外交、日米同盟、これは言うまでもなく、我が国の外交安全保障の基軸です。よって、今後の動きについて注視していきたいと思います。以上です。
Feeling like it was long overdue. I think kind of was hoping that he would have made that an announcement either before or right after the first debate. So it was more of a feeling of like, okay, this was overdue, but not surprising. Right. Yeah, I mean, I think, she's had 4 years of experience in the White House, has seen the execution of the Biden policies, has been part of that. So I think for her to carry the torch makes sense. That would establish continuity. It would ensure that whatever programs and policies were started under the existing administration can continue. So I think that's important for all the people that those policies benefit. I think it'll be interesting to see sort of how the rest of the party aligns around her and who she selects as a vice presidential candidate. Yeah, I mean, I think it's based on what I've read, the competition was going to be a hard one regardless. I think this election is a little bit less clear on what the foreseeable outcome would have been anyways. I think there was headwind going in, even without this Biden announcement, but I actually think this will help the cause, because I think it enables the Democratic Party to find a vice president who I think people can believe in. You may have a little bit more trust in sort of, constitution and competency, right? I think, presuming those are the reasons that Biden's dropping out.
Yeah, we're on the way here. We got all notifications. Instant kind of panic a little bit because we're getting closer to the election. So, it's kind of, back to the drawing board, trying to figure out what to do. I know that he threw his support behind Kamala Harris, of course, as vice president. It's going to be interesting to see how that works out, moving forward. We've been trying to get used to her. A lot of people are not really, going along with her at the moment. So it's kind of, the PR step of her trying to figure out the next steps to win people over. I feel like, she didn't have a great track record running as president, and then, Joe Biden selecting her as vice president, that was a choice as well, too. I feel like people really need to get to know her more. Being the vice president doesn't give you the best, doesn't give you a huge limelight, you know what I mean? We don't really know what she's running on. It's very much Biden's policy, so it's now, what is she gonna do, And then vice president on her end, too, who would she pick as vice president? Well, for me, look, anything, my biggest thing is making sure that Trump doesn't get in the White House. So I feel like even if she was to become the nominee, I'm going to vote regardless, for her. But I really want to know too what her policies are. That's